So again, going back, that system thinking is about looking at the system as a design challenge.
Yes.
Rather than trying to just achieve certain isolated outcomes.
Right. Without working together collaboratively.
Yeah. So again, going back to EVs, it's not about just selling cars.
Yeah.
In China, it's about this whole perspective, both within China and outside.
Yep.
Yeah. The Belt and Road Initiative is part of that, right? So we want to increase the connectivity of the countries throughout Eurasia, right? To basically build everyone's prosperity, but to do it in a way that is more in line with the ecological and social limits that we must have some perspective on. We don't want to hit these tipping points, right? And again, I'm not like rah-rah for China. It's just that they have seemed to adopted a system thinking approach. It's not perfect again, but you can see the fruits bearing of taking this approach. And it's not a lesson about you have to adopt the Chinese governance model.
Not at all.
It's about basically adopting a system thinking.
And just basic governance.
Yeah, I mean, you need governance and you need basically pay attention to data.
Yeah.
And you need obviously to be able to bring the data together in an integrated way so that data is not seen as separate and divided into sectors.
Yeah.
Right? Because we need to be able to see how it interplay between data from different sectors in a systemic way, right? There's all this dynamic dance. As Danella Meadows called it, that we need to learn to dance with systems.
Danella Meadows wrote the book called
Limits to Growth.
Limits to Growth.
Yeah, it was one of the iconic wake-up calls for the Earth for governments back in 1974, if I'm not incorrect. They were part of what was called the Club of Rome.
Yeah.
And they're mostly MIT affiliated scientists, researchers, and system modelers. Yeah, and so they put in all the available data at that time into a computer simulation, which they call World 3, I believe. And they basically changed parameters in terms of consumption, population rates, resource decline, and growth, and this type of thing. And then the computer, World 3, would spit out weather scenarios. And it basically kept saying that we're going to have a systemic ecological planetary collapse by around mid-2000s, 2010. Obviously, it hasn't happened. And so people are like, oh, your model's wrong, right? But because you can't take into account in one period of time the things that will increase the ability to extend something like technology, right? They couldn't have known in 1970s things that increased the efficiency of energy use at the time, right? Or other types of technologies that extend the ability to use resources, even though they're still declining, right? They maybe slow it down a bit. But if you don't change the overall mindset of how you see the system and what's it intended for, then you're still going to end up, it's just maybe delayed, right? And this is another key element of system thinking, is understanding this idea of delay between cause and effect. Because we tend to, if we don't see it happen after we make an intervention, then it's wrong.
Yeah.
Right? But again, the world, and especially these days with 8 billion people, 197 plus countries, it's complex, right? And we're all linked in, right? So of course there's going to be delays, some less so now, and some they play out. I mean, I think they say that the greenhouse gases that we emit now, like at this point in time, actually won't have the effect on warming for another 20 years. So what we're experiencing now was the carbon release from about 20 years ago.
Okay.
Right? So you can imagine what possibly the future of our children will be like with this delay in the cause and effect or the impact upon Gatop, you know? And this is something we don't understand. We think, oh, by releasing carbon right now, there's this immediate sort of response from the atmosphere or from the climate system, right? But no, actually what the response that we're seeing now is from the carbon released 20 years ago. And then if you add things like methane, right, then methane is another carbon gas, has 25 times more greenhouse property in terms of sealing the earth, like because the greenhouse effect is basically like a terrarium, right? It's just the earth is radiating heat at a slow wavelength, and it's basically hitting a blanket, a barrier that bounces it back.
Right. So you're talking about methane.
Yeah. So methane increases the power of that blanket to not allow that heat to go outside to space, right? It keeps making it more reinforced that it's going to get hotter and faster. And again, this reinforcing, much of the methane is locked up under the ocean in the permafrost. And as that permafrost melts, we're going to see more methane released, which is more powerful than carbon dioxide for creating this greenhouse effect and warming the planet. And so you can see that feedback. The more the warming planet, the more ice melts, the more the permafrost thaws, the more methane is released.
What is your suggestion for methane reduction at the individual level? Like
food choices are a big one, right? Because methane,
what
a
food
lot of
choices
time,
should we have more?
less meat eating, right? Because especially ruminants like cows, they are four-chambered stomach, and they basically are
Methane factories,
methane,
cow farts.
pooping, farting, yes, methane a lot. And plus our landfills, right? Landfills are, especially when we mix organic
general
waste.
waste mixed with organic food waste.
Yeah.
So please don't mix food waste in your general waste.
I think in Asia, if you look at the recent OECD report on waste, most countries, 60 to 65% of all the waste generated that goes to landfill is organic waste.
That's horrible. That's like more than half.
And that's producing methane.
We do not need to send our food waste to landfills at all whatsoever. We can compost it at home. I have worms at my house. So if you're okay with worms, please get a bucket of worms with holes in the bucket so that they can drain the worm pee.
Yeah, vermiculture.
What do you do in Chiang Mai for your food waste?
We compost it.
Okay.
Yeah, we also use intervention would be the EM.
Use EM.
Yes.
Enzymes.
Yeah, and then we use that, and we have what we're developing is like a permaculture homestead up in Prao, which is about 90 kilometers north of Chiang Mai, Luang, Chiang Mai. And so we use that to basically fertilize our plants because it's all organic. So this past year, my wife especially, she's planted almost 250 trees.
Amazing.
Yeah, we have a food forest we're trying to develop, which we've been inspired by numerous people in Thailand.
Yeah.
Who have done amazing work in terms of self-reliance.
What are you guys growing?
Joe Jandai
Yes.
and my friend Siripon in Uthai Thani and Wanakaset.
Yeah. And what are you guys growing?
Wow. Everything from tub tim with pomegranate to orange to of course, mangoes, cacao, avocados. We're just mixing everything. Monsoon tea.
Yes, very famous.
He's inspired me. It was an ancient tea, but then it fell out of use because most tea is grown in monoculture, right? In these terraces, right?
Okay.
Need lots of sunlight.
Oh.
Whereas Mian is shade.
I didn't know that.
And it's integrated into forest, so it's a way to protect forest and biodiversity.
Yeah.
And so what I learned from his model is that now he got a grant to use AI to develop these sensors for his farmers in northern Thailand to monitor biodiversity by sound, right? Acoustics. So insects, birds,
animals.
Yeah.
Wow.
So and it's learning. It's not perfect, but it's machine learning. So it's keep being revised and learning. And now they're able to grade their tea from their growers based on its impact on biodiversity.
Oh,
and it's
beautiful.
quite recent.
So this is very much systems thinking at work.
Yes.
Because it's about biodiversity, which means like very diverse living things growing together as opposed to monoculture.
Right.
Yeah.
So
a
premium
monocrop.
tea, he's gone from like, I think 1 or 2 shops, and he said he almost closed down during COVID.
Yeah.
And now he has 13 monsoon tea, and I think he was mentioning he's going to open in London and Sydney. So, I mean, the growth in his business model is all tied to biodiversity and thinking outside the box, going back to traditional knowledge,
Yes.
which is really important. There's so much we think we know in the modern world. We're so smart that, and we think that, oh, you know, we've evolved in our intelligence, but actually there's so much in our traditional
Local wisdom. Yeah.
that we really need to go back and not be so arrogant
Yeah.
with what we know and look at what we used to know that we've forgotten,
Yes.
right? And integrate that into our modern lifestyle.
Yeah.
Again, system thinking.
Yeah.
It's not like divorcing from the past, right? And I think going to China, whether it's a pure sense, but this sense of ecological civilization, even just the word, it creates a cultural mindset
Yes.
that you reinforce into the people that, you know,
To be
society
civilized.
is not divorced
from ecology.
from nature.
Yeah. So I think in the past 20 years that I've been back in Thailand, I think Thai businesses do understand design thinking better. They understand that design thinking is useful in problem solving. And so what would you say in terms of systems thinking to Thai businesses? What is the best way to think of systems thinking in the business context and why it's useful?
Risk, right? Trying to manage risk. At the same time, make a profit.
Yeah.
Right? So I think system thinking, it de-risks better. It
When you look at the
allows
whole
you
picture.
yes, because there's something we call stochastic events. Stochastic means it's not predicted,
Okay.
right? And so oftentimes we'll say, oh, how did we know that was going to happen, you know? But the more that we are able to embrace a system thinking mindset, we can really understand what are our exposure to the risk
Yeah.
greater and build resilience within our companies. So
And
we
work-
have adaptive management.
Work holistically with other stakeholders to
Yes.
de-risk the whole system.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
not just one company. You need to, great point,
Right.
is to collaborate. System
Right.
thinking is built for collaboration.
Because risk is not just internal, but also a lot of it is
super.
external.
Yeah, that's a great point, is
Yeah.
that we need to collaborate because we need to think of ourselves in a community sense.
Okay.
Of course, we're competing
Yeah.
for a consumer base to buy
Yes.
our product.
Yeah.
But we're not, how do you say, we're not alone,
Yeah.
right? And we need resilience, and resilience comes with community and shared
Resources. We need the same
shared
resources.
infrastructure,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like a business can't operate without the infrastructure that
Yes.
supports it, right?
Yes. And we
Whether we're
need the
talking
same
energy
impact as
or
well.
roads or
Yeah, we want the
information.
same impact.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah, we don't want negative impact, but we want like the positive impact. Okay, last question. Throughout this interview, we discussed balance a lot. Do you think sufficiency economy somehow how to address systems thinking, problem solving, achieve balance and
For sure.
resilience?
At the beginning, when I was addressing the feedback loops,
Yes,
I said there's 2 types.
that's exactly what I wanted to ask you.
Yeah. So there's the reinforcing, which again is not bad or good. It just is.
How?
But we have to manage it.
Yeah,
right?
it's how.
It's how. I think our overall mindset and who we are should be embracing this moderation and balance way, right? That we
Absolutely.
and it's key. We live in a closed system.
Yeah.
Earth. I mean, the energy is coming in, but matter and everything else, it's here, and nothing disappears, right? So we create waste.
It comes
It's not-
back.
It's just not disappearing,
Yeah.
right? It's transformed into another state. Plastics transform into microplastics,
Yeah.
nanoplastics, right? Which come into our bloodstream now.
Yes, and sperm.
Mammary glands, everything passed to babies through breast milk. Yeah, so I think we have to understand the limits, and that's something we have not, especially with a capitalist mindset.
Yeah.
You know, that there is no limits. Growth, growth, growth forever. But if we have this sense of sufficiency economy, right? So to get palpian,
Yes.
that we need to understand that there's what is enough, right? And how do we live within the limits of the system?
Yeah.
And again, that comes into using technology, using the networks that we build with collaboration to understand all the information that we need to make good decisions.
Yes.
Yes.
It's about decision making.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Robert.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for inviting me for this conversation.
Yes. Any last words? Anything to plug for 2026?
I think 2026 has me worried, for sure. But I think with a growing cadre of intelligent, creative young people,
Mindful mindsets.
mindful mindsets, I think we have the resources, the human resources, and the energy to overcome anything.
Thank
right?
you so much.
Yeah, and I think we need to give young people more agency.
And encouragement.
Yeah, and get them at the table.
Yes.
Get them.
Absolutely.
Yes.
All right. Thank
Right,
you
thank you.
for listening. See you next time. สวัสดีค่ะ
Bye. สวัสดีค่ะ